I thought I was have to go Jason Derulo and fly solo.
Jason Derulo.
Dude, I love that's. What's your favorite Derulo song?
I don't really know one. I just
Oh,
know.
that was the joke. Ha 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 ha. Flying solo, baby. I'm
Yeah,
solo,
I don't
flying
really listen.
solo.
I don't really listen to music like that anymore. The only time I go and listen to music's in the gym. I'm listening to like I get really pumped up to pump up the jam.
Oh yes.
And then I get
Got to, man.
and then in my playlist I got some Rocky 4 montage, some Van Halen.
Good.
Right now, hey,
No, dude.
or tomorrow.
I
I mean,
play
I'm
that one at
telling you,
every
guys,
wedding.
listening to that kind of music, man, you got to get pumped up. I feel full Rocky in there.
Yeah. It's funny. Like I've been lucky to DJ some fun weddings. Classic rock is very underrated at Southern weddings.
Oh, of course.
You would think it would just be 2000s hip hops, which is always my go-to to keep people
I have a
fired up.
very embarrassing video of me singing R. Kelly's "Key in the Ignition" at my wedding.
Oh, dude, it's a classic. It's a jam, man.
And I
And
think it's ironic people don't know what he means by "I'm trying to put my key in her ignition."
well, break it down for us, Mr.
I mean,
Ruffino.
you're the one that's sponsored by Trojan over here. Maybe you.
Trojan, I do not. I've had a few people, as far as that clip is concerned, ask, "Do you really have a Trojan sponsorship?" And I said no. I said no in the actual clip, but I would say no. I think they provide a great service. I think
You completely missed the best punchline that you could have had in your Trojan comment this week.
okay. Give it to me.
In case people didn't see it, Carter made a little spoof saying that one of his sponsors was the good people over at Trojan Condoms. You should have come out there and said, "Now, listen, everybody, better wear a latex," meaning the condom, because you don't want that late text that I think I'm late text.
That
So
would have
wrap
been
it
perfect.
up.
Yeah. And the fact
You
that my
should
name,
go full Little Wayne.
yeah, and the fact that my name is Carter, it would have worked out even.
See,
better.
you completely missed.
Yeah, I know. It's an
It's a
L.
shame.
It's an L.
It's a
It's an L.
complete
But
shame.
I would have had to share the residuals of that if Trojan did agree to do it. I would have had to share it with Lil Wayne, which I'd be happy to do it. That would be the wildest Lil Wayne
Change
collab.
one word in the sentence, and you don't have to.
Yeah, then you don't have to do it.
Yeah. All right. So every episode with Carter is brought to you by our good friends over at FanDuel. Go over to FanDuel.com today. They always are great partners, and we're presented here at AYSports. Carter, let's break this down. What are you buying or not buying? Or if you're fully in with this whole thing that Brian Kelly said yesterday about Nuss's injury, where do you sit on it?
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear that this is something, right? The Barryon Brown sideline ball, we discussed it not only on your channel, but this channel as well.
Yep.
And the thing is, Blake, it's important to not get too carried away with it, because a torso injury doesn't absolve you from bad decisions either. Okay. So
There were plentiful in Florida.
right. And look, people have speculated nonstop about Arch. Does he have injuries with the wincing on his face on some of the throws? Same thing with Lagway, who is perpetually injured. And there actually is some true oomph to that, as you know, Blake, to Lagway's situation. But the thing is, it's the same way with Lagway. If you're banged up, that does not absolve you from throwing the game away. Okay. And Saturday had a lot to do with one quarterback making a gazillion mistakes and Garrett not making as many mistakes. Or when he did make those mistakes, they weren't as critical as Lagway's were. So it is important to note that, yeah, we always want to be sympathetic to all players' injuries, in particular the quarterback position. But ask any coach, ask any film analyst, ask anyone with a respectable amount of football knowledge. If you're hurt, don't do things that hurt the team. Okay, you just can't do
Like
it.
the interception.
So the red zone interception that Garrett threw, what was on it was inexcusable. All right, you just can't throw that.
It took me back to A&M, if I'm being quite honest.
Yeah, and in many ways, Blake, you can argue it's worse because your defense is truly playing transcendently good football, and the only way you're going to lose is throwing the game away, right?
Mm-hmm.
And look, when you throw an interception like that, you are in a spot where it could be returned for a touchdown. That's the only way that Florida's even getting back into the game. But where I do slightly defend Garrett is this whole offensive environment is just so bad right now for LSU. And the thing that really stinks about the Garrett Nussmeier interception, Blake, is on the play before it, the run blocking was really good on that Juwan Johnson run.
The toss worked all night.
All night. And that was, we found a play that kind of sort of works. And everybody on that rush play. So for those that don't remember the sequence of events, the play before it, we called a pitch and everything was blocked well. We gained some good yards and Juwan loses the ball. And that puts us at third in Ponchatoula. Okay. And it's the extended red zone. The play happens. Weston Davis gets beat, which is right now every day that ends with Y, Weston Davis is getting beat. And it's a problem. So he gets beat. Garrett can't step up into the pocket. So in that situation, he rolls out to the right side where none of his receivers are running. All the routes were in breakers to the left. You just got to throw that ball into the bleachers, okay? And be a real adult in that spot. Be a captain, be a number 18, and do what's best for the team instead of doing that when you know that that's not going to work. And you know those kinds of interceptions. It was a lot like the A&M game. A&M game, he's rolling out to the left, throwing a ball over the middle that gets picked off. This time you're rolling out to your right. Just throw it away. Just throw it away. We punt the football. And, you live to fight another down. So
make him go 90 yards.
Yes, like we had already done successfully a few times, as Brian Kelly mentioned. And Blake, you know me pretty well personally. I am a very aggressive fourth down decision maker. I've always been that way. But I do agree, and Brian Kelly mentioned that not only, his own fourth down model, I'll go even further. I would say 99% of fourth down models would have told him to go forward on at least two of those conservative fourth down punt decisions. And Brian Kelly, learning from his mistakes, the mistake he made versus Clemson not kicking, went against the math, and it was the right decision. It was the right decision. And we would have had to punt again in that spot. And I give BK a lot of credit for coaching around some of the weaknesses of this team. And there you go. So Garrett has to understand that we have to win games this way. And I understand that that's frustrating because he is a prodigious talent at the quarterback position. But you just can't do that. You just can't make that throw in that spot.
Couple of things here. When you did your film breakdown that you do that's infamous and thousands of people watch it, to me, I felt like that you brought up that the decision making is not an excuse. The interception is obviously something that we can discuss. I thought he just missed too many people. And if you're going to play, you got to make some of these throws.
So which misses that bothered you?
I'll even go to the first drive. Throwing an out route to a running back in double coverage when Aaron Anderson's on a linebacker and already has 3 steps on the linebacker that you wind up hitting later in the game for the 31-yard connection.
Yeah, that was a bad miss. Bad
miss. There were 2 times that I remember that Nick Anderson's running an in route and he splits the zone coverage and he sits because he knows he's got zone. If you can't make that 12-yard throw, then I mean, I know that you can, right? I still think that he's making bad decisions. And that's the part where I sit here and say, all right, I mean, I was sent a clip. I'll tell you this. I was sent a clip from a source, and he's like, watch Chris Hilton here. Chris runs a post. He beats the corner and the safety and has got like 3 or 4 steps. Now, I understand that you can't throw it, but at the same time, you got to uncork one. You got to uncork one. That if you can't uncork one of them, then you shouldn't be playing.
Okay, so you're talking about. I think I know which player. So this play was earlier in the game.
Yeah,
correct?
well, I mean, if you want me to go to the ones in the fourth quarter, I was okay with because you're up. You just had the pick six, and if you are hurt, don't throw it into coverage. I'm not even worried about the ones in the second half. When you got to get points, I'm worried about Aaron Anderson being open in the middle of the field. I love the connection to Barrion Brown in cover two. I love it. But they wind up running cover two against you a couple of times that Barrion Brown sitting in the coverage. I mean, I'd have to send them to you, but I don't.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
I don't. I think that there are some things that he's preconceiving or told where to go with the football before he throws it.
And that is partially a problem with Garrett. I do think he gets so far into what he sees pre-snap. Like for instance, the throw to Caden in the first drive of the game. Pre-snap, he's on that smash concept. He's expecting that corner to be back, and he just predetermines what he's going to do.
But nobody's on Aaron, and you know that
on the back side,
on the back side, and you got to know that the only person in that situation that can cover him is that linebacker. They literally come back to it way too late into the game in that situation. Like, I felt like he was told on the sidelines, listen, you got to hit Aaron there.
Yeah, I think now, Blake, it needs to be a heavy dose of Aaron the rest of the way. So
I do too.
One thing I would say is, like, on the very next drive, the first touch was to Aaron Anderson. First touch in the Florida game last year was to Aaron Anderson on a rollout. Aaron is the engine of this offense. And now, Blake, we're a year and a half into Aaron and the Nuss connection. Aaron's not had a bad game. Like, it's crazy. Now, he's had some instances where you want him to catch some tougher passes. There was one at the end of the second quarter versus Florida that Garrett put in a really good spot that Aaron could have caught. It would have been a very difficult catch. But Aaron is so good. As good as you think Aaron is, the fact that over the past year and a half, he's just been good in every game we've played. He's had a big impact in almost every win. Shows you how good this guy is. So we need to keep him the focal point of this offense. And I give Sloan a lot of credit, in that third quarter spot. So, Deshaun Spears has a pick six, and the value of the pick six is it's one less possession that our offense had to put out. If that makes sense, we score with our offense not needing to do any scoring. And then after that, Blake, was when we really started to attack the middle of the field. Obviously, the Bauer Sharp shot was a very good call on first down. But I do think that Aaron Anderson throw over the middle that you're referencing, that's a play that LSU has run throughout the Dim Brock tenure. It was the Tom Brady play that Rob Gronkowski ate on Hoss Juke. And it is truly something that we need to keep working. Because if we get Aaron Anderson on a linebacker, we need to throw it every single time. So I give Aaron a lot of credit for continuously pushing this offense forward, even though we're just not that great of an offense right now.
When you motion a back out of the backfield and the linebacker doesn't go with him, you got to know that one of those slot guys he's taking.
Right. He's going to be there.
And it happened legitimately all night. And to your point, I think that they need to keep going to Aaron in these situations. Does it bother you that, well, what do you make of the situation of them just actually playing them? And I understand Clemson, but what about Louisiana Tech? I mean, how many weeks is this going to be an issue? I mean, Carter, now if this is in camp, which you pitch counted him 6 weeks ago or 5 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Right? And you pitch counted him 4 weeks ago because of the abdomen. I mean, should we expect different stuff to be seen offensively versus Southeastern and moving forward into Ole Miss?
Yeah, and this would be the thing because, Blake, you're really plugged in. I'm not as plugged in as you are. I always say it, even though some people think I have like a gazillion sources. There are some things that we know that we don't share, but everybody wants to know, Blake, how hurt is Garrett Nussmeier's torso? And the answer is it really doesn't matter, because if you're out there, you need to get the job done.
I agree.
I mean, ultimately, and like I said a minute ago, the same thing does play for Lagway. But the truth is, Tom Brady played so many Super Bowls where he was so damn hurt. Okay. The undefeated season, his ankle was in really bad shape.
Carter,
right?
he busted his hand wide open and needed stitches.
Right. So even though you protect quarterbacks as many times as you do, quarterbacks are always still going to be hurt. Just because they have a red jersey on in practice, it's rare to have totally, fully healthy quarterbacks over the course of the season, even though there's all these different things. So I've gotten so many messages. I know you've gotten way more about the Garrett Nussmeier injury. And you saw what happened when the Garrett Nussmeier leg rumor happened, or the Kate Klubnik car accident thing.
Mm-hmm.
People are always worried about QB health. It moves betting lines and all of it. The truth is, Blake, over the next couple of weeks, Garrett Nussmeier could have one leg. I mean, he could be a pirate for all I care. You better be able to put up some big offensive numbers, all right? So we get a 2-week sample, and I understand that there are some, and I heard you bring it up briefly on your show a little bit earlier, the idea that we can potentially rest Garrett for this next game.
I don't think you can.
I don't think you can either, okay? I think in the past, if this offense was a well-oiled machine, I could hear that out. I could really hear that out. But I want everyone, the 303 watch it on YouTube and however many numbers are watching everywhere else.
975.
975.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to look at each and every one of you in the face right now. The offense is ass. It is downright hot dog water ass. It is Kim Kardashian in her prime, Megan Fox on Transformers level ass. It is that bad. It is that bad. We are the only team in the SEC that's not scored 24 points in a single game. More than half of the SEC has scored 24 points in all 3 of their games. Okay. It is so bad. Okay. The only thing that matters in the grand scheme of things when it comes to you being better as a football player is, yes, the off-season weight programs work, spring, all that stuff matters, but game reps matter more than anything else. Yeah. We need as many game reps under the sun as possible to figure this shit out, okay? We don't have time. Our goal is to win the entire thing. Like I said, if this offense was good, I could hear out resting Garrett Nussmeier. But I want our offense, and you should, as LSU fans, should want this offense to at least dominate somebody, to at least let us know that we can do what we need to do to be an elite offense. And
go ahead, sorry.
Even if the offensive line is terrible, it still doesn't excuse that with what LSU has at wide receiver and a quarterback that's going to be drafted, we've got to start hitting some explosives. We got to start getting some things going.
At least attempting it.
Yes.
And you're not even attempting it. And listen, if you hit them or if you don't hit them, at least teams are going to know it's what you're going to do. I mean, the first, look, Pete Golding's from here, and I'll say this because I know it for a fact. What did Pete do last year? He knew that he had a really good front 7 or front 6. So they played 2-man all night. Did not stop them from trying to push the ball down the field. And the thing that I look about in this offense that's so confusing to me is I get not wanting to if he's hurt. Them not going down the field confirms to me that he's hurt. Yeah. Because why in the world wouldn't you, with now that you have this level of defense? I think Brian Kelly's outburst to Cobble is a little bit warranted. And I think that Brian Kelly put the Nusmeier context in it for this reason, but he didn't explain it to anybody. If he would have explained what was happening with Garrett before the Cobble question, then I understand the overreaction. Yeah. But because you didn't do it, and because if you're Brian Kelly, you go to the podium and you say to yourself, bro, we just beat Florida with one hand tied behind our back, and our quarterback can't throw the ball down the field. And he's like, what do you mean? We won with that. What are you talking about? Dude, we're going to be fine. But he didn't explain it. And that's where he got in trouble. But Carter, they're not even attempting it. And listen, you go another week and you're not pushing the ball down the field, the can of worms will be open going into and coming out of Ole Miss. It's not a matter of if, but when you're going to need to score points, then when do you sit him? Because Michael Van Buren's going to have to get some reps here because offensively you got to do something. Or then this is on Joe Sloan. You can't lie to me. I give you a 3-game mulligan.
Yeah.
You can't go to the podium and say all that you said if you're Brian Kelly and say, listen, we were very conservative. Garrett's been battling through an injury. We didn't want to put him in big situations. We knew we were elite on defense, so we managed the game the way that we needed to manage the game. Sounds good. You're telling me that he's coming out of the injury. So now you better start doing some things like you did last season. Carter, if you had this offense a season ago with this defense, you're blowing some teams out.
Yeah.
Because the Garrett that we all knew, 3 interceptions or not. Now, you would have been in a lot tighter games. You would have lost to Clemson if you throw 3 picks. But the bottom line remains is you got to throw the football. You got to throw it, and you got to be explosive. Before we move on here, Jabbar Jaluk's been suspended for 3 games at Florida. You want to know who started the LSU Florida incident along both sidelines?
Oh, is Jabbar Jaluk?
I heard during the game, right before the game kicked off, that Jabbar Jaluk was telling players to go over their sidelines and start shit and get some people kicked out. And there is a video we shared that it looked like he threw a punch.
Well, then Florida's got info that they needed to act. It is interesting because
the SEC mandated it.
Oh, okay. So I had no idea. I no idea.
It's breaking news right now.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yep. So there's no way you could have known.
Okay, so Jaluk, his history with LSU is extensive, and not only with
telling players not to go to LSU, going to Florida,
being at LSU too. I mean, it's interesting. He's definitely from what I know one of the more well-connected coaches. Like he just knows everybody. But
he does.
Dude, I will also say that doesn't really shock me. It is so wild to me that a coach would think that that's a great idea. And with all the info and cameras that we have, to think that you're not going to get caught doing that is just insane to me. Like I'm floored, but at the same time not surprised.
Because he's done that in multiple spots and situations, even in high school. Let me ask you this before we move to defense really quickly, and I'll get you out of here. Do you expect this offense to get better?
Well, you look at Southeastern, and then you look at old.
Take the Southeastern game out of it. Do you expect them? Because there's nothing they can do to rectify. They're going to have to score 90 points.
Yeah. So this is where I have a slight disagreement with that.
Okay.
Right? Is because they've not put up a good amount of points in any game yet. Okay. I do think them doing something versus Southeastern would tell us something. Because if they don't put up, and I understand 24 is an arbitrary number, but just do simple math, that's 6 points per quarter, right? You should be able to do that. You should, okay? The fact that every other team in the SEC's done it at least once, and most of them have done it in 3 games.
Hell, look what A&M just did.
Right. So at least show me that you can do this, and you should be able to do this.
Do you expect them to?
Then you get Ole Miss the next week. So I do a lot of Arkansas content on my SEC channel, and the Ole Miss defense
is not good.
Not only are they not good, but like they couldn't line up. They did some really.
Wait a minute. You mean to tell me that Deshaun Womack and Sage Ryan couldn't get lined up properly?
They did. I will tell you, dude, they did some downright diabolically stupid things versus a Bobby Petrino coached offense. Some of it was structural. Some of it was their players just doing things that I know for sure they weren't coached to do. So you do get a 2-week stretch here where I need to see at least one offensive outburst. Of course, we want to say versus Southeastern, But Ole Miss's defense, I don't see a world where they actually become something this year. So, yeah, this next 2 weeks should tell you a lot, right? So I'm excited to see if we get something going. And then also, I want to shout out Xavier Thomas, man, just doing all the little things right. Just making shit happen.
Block along the sidelines, yeah.
What was that?
Big block along the sideline.
Oh, yeah. And, one thing, it's interesting. So if he doesn't make that block,
Brian Kelly doesn't get killed.
That's true. But
it's Xavier Thomas's fault.
It is Xavier's fault. But, that block helped get us into more comfortable field goal range, and Ramos isn't a distance kicker. So,
and then you had a false start to take it away.
Yeah, true. But in theory, the play was so big. But he just does so many little things right. One of the biggest plays in the game that was negated by the Nuss interception is the only reason Florida didn't get the Jawan Johnson fumble on the play before is that Xavier jumped.
Because of him, yeah.
He just does so many little things right. So every time I get a chance, I want to shout him out.
I don't think they need to move him inside or do some different things with him. I get it, but you're not going to get in. You're going to put Chris Hilton in the slot. You're going to put Barry on there. You better start getting vertical from somewhere.
Oh no, I'm with you. I mean,
nobody's calling for him not to play. I'm just calling for him to not be there.
Yeah, you don't like him at the X.
I hate it. I want to play. But see, here's the thing. Like, for an example, what happened in his touchdown reception? Very quickly, because we need to get to defense.
Yeah, go ahead.
Motioned it out where you had to take another number out. So technically, he's a slot number, right? So
yeah, it's not a traditional outside alignment. Yeah, I'm with you.
It's not a true outside alignment. The numbers change once that motion happens. Give me more of that. Please, him and Aaron, go 4 wide for all the Rudy Poo I care. I don't care. Put him in that bitch, but you got to do something different with it.
I know you've already addressed this, so I know we're getting the defense and we're running out of time. I'm also chubby and hungry, but I do want to ask you on your lovely channel, what would you do about the offensive line right now? Do you just keep the unit the same? I know you're a big Kern guy.
Get away from zone blocking schemes.
I agree with that. I do.
I know Weston's taking a lot of shit from people, but I haven't hit him or talked about him because I know he's given me every bit of effort he's got.
He's playing hard.
Don't think that your guys in the interior besides Braylon Moore are.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I can't. I don't think. Let me give an example. I'll send you the link tonight.
Yeah, go ahead.
The play where Aaron does the little quick slant stop, then goes, the 31-yard play.
Yeah. The juke.
I need you to go. I need you to go to that play. And I want you to watch 56 and 75. And the stunt that Florida ran, I think Weston Davis's issues in the zone blocking schemes are just as much important on Josh Thompson as it is him.
Oh, so
because he's not passing off. They run a twist, and Weston Davis passed off the twist, and he literally does this. There's no way in hell that a guy with 45-plus starts shouldn't know on a twist to shift. Hey, all right, you take the inside guy. I'm going to take the guy – or you take this guy going outside. We're going to take the twist. How does that happen? And he's been in the situation at right tackle where he should know better. If you watch some of the zone reads and runs right, give an example. Caden Durham's first third down run. Where did he get hit from?
Gone.
Yeah. Where did he get hit from? It's not Weston Davis. Weston Davis has got serious push. It's 56 getting him cheeks clapped and missing assignments.
Yeah.
And so listen, if we're going to call a spade, come in here on this projector and sit down right here with me, and we'll go toe to toe with it because they're getting them cheeks getting clapped up front.
Dude, Trojan's definitely going to sponsor.
Oh, they should, but they can't. 56 does not know how to pass off from the interior. I'm sorry, he doesn't.
Well, yeah, they struggled with another twist later in the half too.
Yeah, and Weston's sitting there saying, "What are you doing?"
And
Weston's technique was perfect because he's turning him back in. The guy's trying to penetrate you off your hip. The reason he turns is because he's trying to lay his ass out. What are we doing? So they got to get away from zone blocking schemes. I said this 2 weeks ago, Carter. They got to start wedge blocking, meaning it's going to not benefit you. But if you run typical inside zone and you just what they call wedge blocking, meaning you just double and you don't worry about the second level, have a wall. Have a wall. Don't worry about going to the second level. Don't let anybody – it's like what's the old kids game where you link
Red
arms?
Red Rover.
Red Rover them hoes. That is wedge blocking. You don't let anybody penetrate through you. You go toe-to-toe and you double from within, meaning literally the tackle and the guard in the center. If you're going left, we're going to double and we're not going to go to the second level. Give me 4 yards.
Yeah, so if you go more to gap duo kind of stuff, that's kind of what you're talking about. And
that is gap duo. I mean, people know it from a high school perspective as wedge, but gap duo is exactly what
Yeah, exactly what you said. Yeah,
everybody takes a step to the play side of where it's going, and you run.
Yeah, and
that is welcome to zone blocking schemes.
Yeah, well, it's strange because like 2019 LSU was a big duo team. So
I'm going to tell you something that I probably shouldn't say. If you ever watch Joe Brady in an interview, I hope he gets asked about his philosophy on run plays.
Oh, he's a savant when it comes to running.
They run duo.
They
do not run traditional zone blocking schemes. They let the guy come to them.
Yeah, and my thing is we don't disguise our outside zones well at all.
We don't.
It's pretty easily keyed from the backers to the corners. Even when we do block it well, there was one that we ran where the corner for Florida just came in and just knifed in there. The play was blocked fine. It's just they know what's coming. And a lot of that's on Joe. It is Sloan. So
yet when they didn't know a toss was coming, look what you were able to do.
Right. And then,
not that complicated.
And then you get into so would you do more Jack Pyburn fullback stuff? Or?
Here we go, Les Miles.
I mean,
I'm not saying don't do it, but are you going to play Jack Pyburn 20 plays on offense? And let me ask you this question. Here's the real truth. You're not going to surprise anybody in the country again with him coming in.
True. And it is important to point out.
I mean, but he killed Kamani McLean.
Yeah, it was and to be fair, it wasn't McLean, but he still killed his guy, right?
Was it McLean that ran him down?
Yeah, it was McLean that ran him down. But
okay.
the point your point still remains the same. It also helped that Florida was not lined up and they had 12 guys. They didn't know what they were doing. So it's important that I get too carried away with that. I can say though that like Jack is open to the idea of playing.
Yeah, let him go 5 to 7 plays and call it a day.
Right. And look, I like fullbacks, so I always have.
I don't mind it either. Make him the Bayou Hughes check.
But the Bayou Hughes check, I like it, man. But to your point about the defense, it was another great performance. Obviously, you and I have both been big Deshaun.
Safety play, dude.
It's just amazing. Ooh. It is amazing. We've always been big Deshaun Spears guys. So him having that game really isn't a shock for anyone that like really watched him grow as like a high school recruit. His athleticism, it looks like Grant Delpit out there. But it was good for him to finally have his shine, right? In 9
plays, right?
It was insane. And to me, Blake, it all gets down into the unselfishness of this group. It's so big. It really, really, really is so big. Guys willing to do things for other people to get open on a blitz or anything, because Spears comes in 9 plays, has just this Hollywood game, gets all the accolades.
We had a caller last night asking to bench Cooley for Spears, and I'm like, Cooley played great.
Yeah, he had a good game, and it's good to have somebody come off the bench and provide that spark, because
cold depth,
and you haven't had it recently, and it was also interesting that Spears, you would have thought they would have tried him more last year, and then when he played some in that, more so in the Baylor game, if anything, he struggled, and then for him to stay locked in when they go get all these transfers, for him to still really work on his craft and have the performance that he had, shows that young recruits, it doesn't matter if you're a top 100. No one gives a shit. Just lock in, work on yourself, and when your time comes to shine, go out there and make plays. And that's exactly what he did. So I'm really high on him. Like you might be higher on him than me, and it's that's hard to be in that spot.
One day I'm going to write a memoir, and I have screenshots from his recruitment.
Oh, dude,
don't you think that's not going to be in there?
Dude, he's so gifted. He is so gifted. Good game.
Look, Jake Olson got missed in all of this. His room had 4 picks.
Crazy. It is wild.
Yep. All right, last things here, Carter. Mark Allen says, someone please put out an APB on Chris Hilton. What have you seen from Chris Hilton? I know he hadn't done much, but what have you – what do you think about the situation?
Yeah, him and Garrett really – you had the games that you had towards the end of the season, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you had the connection in the Wisconsin game, and you would expect it to be better than where we are right now.
Mm-hmm.
But, part of it is, when has Chris ever been an elite, consistent producer at LSU the same way a guy like Aaron Anderson has been? So, obviously, some of this is the role that he's been given. It's been an inconsistent role. I know quite a few people are frustrated about it. He also, him hitting his higher end range of outcomes is the highest range of outcomes for this offense to be great. Meaning, if he's on the field and playing well, the plays that Chris Hilton are hitting are big plays, right? Compared to Aaron Anderson, yeah, you get some big yak plays, but it's more of a methodical, slow burn, right? So you do want to keep Chris involved because he is such an elite, pure, deep threat that we do know that Garrett has hit a few times. But at the same time, I do think part of it is we might have overrated Chris going into this season.
Can't say that on 4 targets, because here's the problem with Chris. Everybody can have mistakes but him. Like, the only thing that he's done this season has been the fumble. And I got to be real with you. They're trying way too hard to get 12 personnel and Bauer Sharp on the field. Way too hard.
No, yeah. Sharp's not been the best.
No, I mean, they're trying very hard to get him on the field. And to be real with you, when you had Trey'Dez Green, I don't mind it. But at the same time, you can't blame any receiver based off the passing game when Garrett can't do the one thing that Chris needs him to do the most. Chris Hilton's game is getting vertical. And you came out this week and said he can't throw it that far.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
So
I
why he's not playing, because they had to take him out based off of what they were needed to do. Here's the truth. I think because we saw less of Kyle Parker this week and more of Chris Hilton and them trying to get him involved, I think you're going to start seeing it. But Carter, they're bunching up in too many things. They're being too cute. Joe Sloan comes from an air raid principle offense. Well, fucking run it. I mean, then run it. And here's another thing. Nobody will help Chris Hilton until you let him catch a slant. They all know what he's doing. So you're not benefiting him there either, in my opinion.
Yeah, so, I think part of it is I do think putting Chris some in the slot, which is tough because Aaron is a pure slot guy. I do think doing that can help get Chris going because you're moving him around.
They ran slot fades, him on DJ Pickett in 1-on-1s and 11-on-11s. Carter, he had 3 touchdowns on DJ Pickett in the slot.
Yeah. Yeah. And one thing I would say, okay, once again, you're not going to find a bigger Garrett defender than me. Okay, you're just not. I've defended him on plenty of. Well, what was that?
Who are you telling?
I know. Okay, but one thing I will say about Michael Van Buren, who is a very flawed quarterback who had rough practices as you've attended, but it's not a secret that the fall and spring wasn't as great as some hope for. But
if he had better fall and spring camps, Garrett would have been benched.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
He would have been. He would have not played against Louisiana Tech. He wouldn't have played. I'm telling you.
They
don't trust Van Buren, and that's why he went out there versus LA Tech. If you want to keep it real, let's keep it real.
So you think the staff is shaky on MVB right now?
I do.
No.
Here's another thing. They told the kid they wanted him to redshirt, and Garrett's not hurt enough not to play.
Okay.
And they're trying to manage the red shirt situation with him very closely, like what happened with Garrett, literally in the Ed Orgeron, Brian Kelly turnover. I mean, Carter, what was the conversations in 2022? Well, man, if you start trying to throw Nuss out there, you're going to burn his red shirt, and all this shit that we went through was for nothing. And they kept running him out there. Okay. And you get what I'm saying? I think that I think some behind the scenes conversations is why you're not seeing Michael Van Buren.
Okay, so this would I've heard different things about this as well, and I've gone on a rant saying that if we were in garbage time versus Louisiana Tech,
I agree.
I would put Colin Hurley in over Michael Van Buren because Colin's already used up his redshirt year, right? And I'm big
against Southeastern. You got to throw MVB out there though, and you got to throw him out there with the first unit.
Okay,
right. I mean, if Garrett is hurt and the offense looks the same way, and you do get some points based off it, but you're just missing a lot of stuff, you got to throw MVB out there and just say, "Hey, go at it." Yeah, and it opens up a massive can of worms.
Well, here's my problem. Okay, and this. I said this during the Orgeron tenure with the Garrett thing. Your top backup quarterback, whoever your top backup is always going to be the second most important player on the team. Mm-hmm. Always. All right. Because the quarterback is just that much more valuable.
Right.
Yeah, right. So, like, as great as Mansour Delane is, the second most important player on this team is always going to be your backup quarterback. Right.
I agree.
So, that's not a shot at Delane. I just used the best player on.
I know what you're saying. Everybody knows what you're saying.
Yeah. So if that's the case, when I started hearing about like the red shirt stuff and all that stuff, you can never be shaky about who your backup quarterback is and trying to manage red shirts and all that stuff. You just can't because it puts the entire operation in limbo, especially at a position that does transfer so much, right? So that does put LSU in a precarious position because the thing is, based on what was told to me about Van Buren's Mississippi State tenure, is that he also had rough practices then, but then when he actually played in the games, he played a lot better than what anyone thought he would be last year.
Watch Georgia.
Yes, and
there were days, though, I'll give him this, there were days he went stupid.
Oh, and let
me give an example. The day Garrett sat out and he went, the first one, he went stupid.
I will be honest, Blake. You look at some of like the advanced metrics from Van Buren last year when he played for Mississippi State. They weren't too great, but the film was really impressive to me. Now we can get into yeah, those teams might have not been playing as hard because Mississippi State wasn't as good, but there were still some really high level throws. And the one thing that Van Buren can do, he's not ever going to be, to me, as good of an intermediate thrower as Garrett. That's really tough. But his goal ball down the sideline is borderline elite. Like last year, that was the case. He threw some flat out, beautiful, deep
And he
ball.
had Mario Traver too.
And Kevin Coleman, who was very good for them. So he had really, 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 he had wide receivers as good as the receivers that we have now. So that's part of it as well. But even to like some of the number 3 and number 4 guys, he threw some flat out beauties down the sideline. He is a very talented, gifted, deep ball thrower. So it is something I grew on Michael Van Buren when I started watching and paying attention and doing film studies on the channel from his games. But some of the practice stuff that you heard was concerning, and I do think it affected not only my opinion, your opinion, other people's opinions about him. But I just think your top backup. We always need to know what your status is as far as like redshirting and stuff like that. And I know that could change. Like during the season, everybody wants to keep as many red shirts as you possibly can. But Blake, for me, as far as whose red shirt are we saving and not saving, why did Carey's current play only one play versus Louisiana Tech? And that makes any sense. And then the other thing is, let's just say, once again, if we're in a spot where we're trying to figure out the Van Buren redshirt situation, the thing that is the single most impressive thing about this team right here and the buy-in from this team, when I speak to players on the team and had Jack Pyburn on the show, all those different things, there are so many players on this team right now that are playing their 4th year in 4 eligible years, which means there's a lot of value in them playing this final year of their eligibility when they know that they can have an extra year. So there are a bunch of guys that are currently in this locker room that are sacrificing a whole hell of a lot for this team to get to the college football playoff.
Agreed.
So one player and his redshirt situation should not outweigh an undefeated potential college football playoff team's overall potential output, right? So that to me is one of the most undertold stories about this team. And I know you and I could point out all the bad and this guy's not doing good or whatever. I can tell you from, and Blake, you know this, but I'm just going to share it with your audience. There's a lot of people that are really putting a lot into this team, that have done the unselfish shit to get us to where we are right now. So
because they see what this defense has been doing.
Yes, like it's crazy. Like one guy who is just getting it from fans because he dropped 2 really bad picks versus Louisiana Tech. I give Ashton Stamps a lot of credit. I mean, he's playing a lot of punt return, punt block shit. That's a huge demotion from him being the number 1 snap player on last year's team. So I cannot state enough. Like I know Brian Kelly gets crushed and no one likes him, or a lot of people just don't like him or whatever. But this dude's got a lot of people bought in to this version of LSU. And that means a lot to people like me. And I know it means a lot to people like you. So
it does.
That's why I like this redshirt thing for this team. I'm like, man, there's a lot of people sacrificing a lot. So as much as it would be nice to save Michael Van Buren's redshirt, it's also just not that important to me because we have a damn solid team, and whatever it takes to get us to the playoff, we need to put all hands on deck and get us to where we need to be.
Yeah, I completely agree. All right. We'll see you next week. Or I'm sure I'll be on your show this week at some point too.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's go.
All right.